Welcome back to Carolina Journal Radio. I'm Mitch Kokai. It's been a while since North Carolina has felt the effects of a severe drought, but that's not stopping state lawmakers from looking into new ways of managing or controlling access to the state's water. They recently discussed the final report of a state water allocation study. UNC School of Government professor Richard Whisnant offered highlights.
Our water use as a state continues to rise faster than population is rising. Population is still rising. So even though a big factor for the utilities and water utilities in the last 2 years has been the economic slowdown, the long-term picture is as more people come, we use more water and even more water than the number of people coming into the state. Fresh water supply is finite. It's very much like the budget problem we have in the state, only so many dollars. Some of the new research going on, which I'm showing you here for the first time, from a PhD student at UNC, Lauren Patterson, suggests that in parts of the state, our supply may actually be decreasing. So the takeaway is we have a finite supply. There's no doubt about it. We may actually have a shrinking supply at the surface. And so over the long term, the collision of this trend to more use and less supply is inevitably going to get us unless we prepare for it.
Whisnant says regional groups have cropped up to deal with water allocation issues, but he believes the state needs to play a greater role.
The reality is every one of them had some driver that forced people who run in their own water systems to say, let's get together and talk about what's going on in this region as a whole. So I remain skeptical that if the state, at the state level, just sits back and does nothing, that we will have an adequate level of planning statewide. It's going to take some driver.
Whisnant says high growth areas face special challenges.
We're going to have a number of systems that in the next 40 years are not going to be able to meet their projected demands. So I think we believe that's the result you're going to find wherever you look around the state at these high growth areas in the Piedmont headwaters where we don't have an adequate supply to assure us that we can just meet all our needs forever. What you will see as a result of this is that conflict's going to continue to rise. And that's already been going on. I'm sure some of you are aware of some of the litigation that's been occurring and is still happening around the state. I think you're going to see this in part as a lot of changes from particular areas, people coming in requesting changes in our interbasin transfer statute, because they're going to run up against that restriction we make on moving water, and they're going to come to you and say, we need a little relief here or there. And I know you have to take each one of those on its own merits, but I want to urge you when you get those requests to think, is this part of a bigger picture that ought to make us rethink how we're allocating water generally, or should we just be trying to solve every little individual regional problem that comes to us? I think courts are going to continue to take cases between water users. We're going to have unpredictable results in those cases.
Whisnant recommends further legislative action.
We still think that North Carolina has a chance to be not just a place with ample precipitation and minimal regulation, but really a place where water supplies are secure, where we really have assurance of water supplies. And we think that that will be a major competitive advantage for us down the road in the long term, but it'll take more work on your part.
That's UNC School of Government professor Richard Whisnant discussing a water allocation study for North Carolina. If you'd like to hear his comments again, you can listen to the Carolina Journal Radio podcast. Just log on to carolinajournalradio.com. There you'll find more information about the podcast. It is available each week. Whisnant worked on the water study with Bill Holman of Duke University.
We do believe that our state could be well positioned. We are a state with ample rainfall. We don't have any raging. We have some conflicts, but we don't have any raging conflicts right now. So we have a real opportunity to put the policies in place that assure our municipalities, our industries, our agricultural sector, and the environment an adequate supply of water to meet their needs.
Holman outlined a number of recommendations for the future. One of them, phase out the use of treated drinking water for irrigation.
We're taking treated drinking water and using it for lawn and turf irrigation. We would recommend that at some future date, you need to give some planning time to that, but we ought to start using reclaimed water, that highly treated wastewater, or capturing and reusing stormwater and use that for our irrigation for new development, and phase out the use of highly, basically valuable drinking water for that purpose. These other kinds of water are available if we apply ourselves.
That was the voice of Bill Holman of Duke University.
That's all the time we have for the show this week. Thank you for listening. On behalf of Mitch Kokai, I'm Donna Martinez. Come back again next week for Carolina Journal Radio.